the screen.
This is Real Generational Wealth. Live from Southern California, this is Abby, Espy, and Jen.
What's
Hey
up?
guys!
There you go. Here we are.
What's up? What's up?
What is up,
Hello.
guys? Thank you all for tuning in. This is Abby, Espy, and Jen with Real Generational Wealth, where we have over 50 years of combined experience making sure you and your family always have a place to call home. We've got an amazing episode for you guys tonight about how the real estate industry has pivoted during COVID. So if you're watching live, make sure to hashtag live in the comments. And if you're catching this on the replay, go ahead and hashtag replay. Well, this is our first episode, so
Yep.
we wanted to take a moment and introduce ourselves. But again, stick around for some advice on buying and selling in this pandemic.
Mhm.
So, SB, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into real estate?
Well, I guess the oldest one have to be the first, right? So anyway, well, I started here in United States. I came to California in 1982, and I was heartbroken and very frustrated with my family business, And so when I came here, I started doing all kinds of odd jobs because I was TNT, Tago ng tago is what we call in the Filipino. So I was doing all kinds of odd jobs in sales, marketing, and even in advertising. And in 1988, I got married and I was having a baby. And one night I was watching TV and all this no money down, real estate, own your own home. And I decided to get my license. So November of 1980, I got my license. And the first client I have is, guess what? A family. It's my brother who bought a house in
So awesome.
Sunnyvale.
Awesome.
That was like I sold it for 185 at that time. Can
Wow.
you imagine how
Own
much
it?
that is right now in Silicon Valley?
Gotta be
Oh my
millions.
God.
That's right, yeah. So I started doing mortgage and real estate for over 10 years. So I have seen ups and downs in the market until 2001 when I moved to El Dorado Hills and I was doing mortgage and real estate representing buyers and sellers. I was doing that until up to 2005 when the market was really getting crazy on the mortgage side. So I
Right.
decided to drop the mortgage side and focus on real estate. And then the market was starting to get crazy all the way up to 2008 when we had a downturn. So
Right.
I learned different kinds of certifications in the business. I was doing short sale. I was selling homes that are in foreclosure, selling all these beautiful 10,000, 5,000 square foot house that are being foreclosed. And it was really, really a chaos. So I learned how to do short sale and really negotiating for my client and representing them against the bank. And with my mortgage background, that really helped me a lot. So anyway, fast forward in 2010, then I was a victim too. I lost my house. I had to short sale my home.
Oh,
Yeah, being a single mom with one child, my son
yeah,
at
that's
that time
hard.
went to the army. It was very hard. I had a big house with a pool, all the works. And then, with the real estate really going down, it was so hard to really keep that big house.
Yeah.
So I packed up and I decided to go to the Philippines in 2010. So I walked that path of being balikbayan, or I call it balikbalikan, because there's a lot of retirees I noticed that was going back and forth to the Philippines, like 6 months over there, 6 months here,
That's
and
true.
having such a real nice, lifestyle. So then retiring style started.
Oh, that's
I
where it
was
started.
seeing, yeah. So I saw my friends, we were doing some reunions and I see them buying condos and homes there, second homes. And I said, okay, well, I think I'm going to go back to United States and started promoting condos and selling
Mhm.
houses of my clients who have houses in the Philippines or lots in the Philippines. So that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And last year I moved here to Los Angeles, and I'm focusing and meeting all nice people just like you, Abby, Jen, and I'm focusing now on helping baby boomers who are retiring and transitioning, whether they are upsizing or downsizing. That's what I do, and I teach about leverage in reverse mortgage and 1031 exchange, and you know, and more. Okay,
Nice.
so that's my story.
Awesome. That's something
Yeah,
that people are very interested in, like reverse mortgage. I still don't know how
yes,
that works.
yeah.
We'll
Well, you
definitely
should
have to
come to
talk
one of
about
my
that in another
workshops, Abby.
episode.
Oh,
So, how about you,
definitely.
Abby? How did you start?
Well, I got started selling pretty early. When we lived in Manila, I used to sell rags to jeepney drivers. So I was 5 years old at the time. We didn't have a lot of money, so we saved our money to go to the U.S. and we only had enough for me and my mom to come here. So we came here, and I remember San Francisco Airport. The immigration officer was like, "Okay, so what's your name?" And I said, Leomona Gonzaga. And I was like, who is this Leomona Gonzaga that my mom told me to say I was? It was my alias. You know, I was 6 years old, so I didn't even know. I didn't
Just
know what I
wanted
was
it.
talking about at the time. Um, so after that, we worked at Alignari's restaurant in Los Angeles. They were in Echo Park, and my mom couldn't afford a babysitter, so she had me stay with her, and I would peel onions and garlic and just help out where I can. After that, my mom started selling purses in the swap meet. So I helped her there too, and I would sell purses, and sometimes my mom would leave me, so I'm just there by myself selling to people, and that's where I learned how to negotiate. That's
Wow,
you'll
learn
sell
early,
something
huh?
for yeah, you'll say something is $20, and they'll say $10, which is um, what is that luge? Like my mom's not making any money if I sell it for $10, so
Sell
I
it
had to
short.
get them
Yeah.
to increase the
Mhm,
price. So
mhm.
after that, I was still TNT. I wasn't able to get gainful employment. I was just working under the table. And after high school, I raised money. I borrowed money from my friends, and I was able to hire attorneys to get my papers. So after I got my papers, I didn't really want to go to school. I just wanted to work. I worked as an admin assistant, then a legal assistant, and I attended West LA College during night school. So I was able to be number two at West LA College. I got accepted to UC Berkeley, but I ended up going to UCLA because I got a scholarship and they gave me a stipend to attend there. I was like, wow, this
Nice.
is cool, but I was
What
an
made
older
you go to
student
school?
already. I was already
Hmm.
older, so I was like, wow, free school, let's go. So I attended school, and while I was attending UCLA, me and my husband were in the process of buying our first home at the same time. So he was able to qualify on his own. We'd saved money and we had a pretty nice size down payment. But the first agent that we worked with, like the transaction fell through. It was a condo and it was a short sale. Um, and it didn't end up happening. So
Mm.
we waited a couple months later, and we used a different agent, and it was more hands on. Like we were more hands on, and we were able to close escrow on our first home in 18 days. So that was a
Wow.
really quick. It was really quick because we had everything lined up already, and since then I realized it really makes a difference which agent you use or how skilled your agent is. A lot of people don't think that, oh, you need an education to be an agent. That may be true, but, I like to use my education to help my clients make rational decisions based on value rather than emotion. Because I don't
Right.
want them to just make a decision based on emotion and make the wrong decision.
Mhm.
Um, So because of that experience with buying our first home, it made me want to do real estate and help people reach benchmarks in their lives and just be part of that. Um, it's something that I'm passionate about, and it's something that I love. I love doing. A lot of the buyers that I worked with initially, they're now sellers, and that's who I'm focused on now. Is getting homes sold for the highest price per square foot. That's something that I always try to achieve. It's like, okay, challenge, let me challenge myself, or it's just a challenge of trying to get the highest priced home in the neighborhood. It helps our clients, and it also helps me as an agent. So anyways, enough about me. Let's take it to Jen. So Jen, tell us about yourself and how you got started in real estate.
So I actually never even thought of real estate growing up. In middle school, my parents quit their full-time jobs and decided to build a business from the ground up. They built a home office out of one of the spare bedrooms and expanded into the garage and then eventually into office space. And it was so successful, they ended up selling it off. And they were such great role models in showing me what, I guess, entrepreneurship really was about. And
Mm-hmm.
it inspired me to want to be a business owner myself. I was actually very blessed. My parents didn't force me to go into nursing or
Like most
any of those
Filipino parents.
safe trades like
Filipino
Filipino, yeah, they're
families,
Filipino
they like
parents.
nerds.
They were very encouraging of anything I wanted to do. But they always said that I needed to get a degree. So I actually
Yeah.
got a full ride to UC Riverside. I ended up graduating in 3 years. And the problem was I actually graduated in 2008, which, as we all know it, is when the economy crashed.
That's right.
No
Yeah.
one, no one was
Tough.
hiring at the time.
Yeah.
So it almost felt like all this hard work I did to get my degree kind of just went down the drain, and I had to pivot. I had to figure something out. So at the time, my sister-in-law was actually a real estate broker. And she was like, hey, why don't you just help me out until you figure something out? And I was like, sure, why not? And with that, I learned, I guess, a lot of the foundations of what I know now in real estate. And what was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be just a means to an end, I didn't realize was something that would catapult me into this amazing career that I have now. So
Yeah.
after a year and a half of being with her, I realized we split ways, and I realized I wanted to further my real estate career. So I actually hopped on Craigslist to see if there were any jobs, and I saw this
Oh,
position.
really?
Yeah, who goes on Craigslist? I mean, I don't even know if Craigslist does jobs
Yeah.
anymore.
Uh-huh.
But, I hopped on Craigslist, and I actually found this position for a closing coordinator for this high profile, like this top REO team in LA.
Yeah.
I sent in my resume, and they basically contacted me in 15 minutes, and then
Oh,
they
wow.
interviewed me,
Wow.
drilled me with a ton of questions, and they hired me on the spot.
There you
You were
go.
Know your
educated,
stuff.
so mhm.
Yeah, so they hired me, and I mean, it was amazing because within the first year, I think we sold well over 400 units. It was very busy.
Whoa,
Yeah, and
that's a
and with that,
lot.
Fast
I gained
pace.
I gained a ton of experience. I learned so much about the ins and outs of real estate. It was when foreclosures were flooding the market, kind of like what you guys were
Yeah.
talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So yeah, we were busy, but with all of those transactions, I also saw the ugly sides of real estate.
Mhm.
I mean, buying a home is still one of the biggest investments people make in their lifetime. And
True.
so I saw that there was a lack of empathy between clients and agents, and I felt like there was so much lost in between all that. And something inside me told me it wasn't right and
Yeah.
that I could actually do something about it. But that the thing was that would come at a price because then I would have to give up a set salary to go full time as an agent, going strictly on commission.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I followed my heart and I took the leap of faith and I got my licensed. I followed that little voice inside of me that always wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
So, with 9 years of hard work, lots of mentorship from my then boss, who's now my business partner, I've actually built and grown our team into one of the top producing teams in LA. Shout out to the house sellers. I know
Very
some of
good.
you guys are watching. But through it all, I mean, it's still very important to me to hold the hands of all my clients and walk them
Yes.
through every step of the transaction
That is
from beginning to
important.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pride myself actually in taking special care of all of the needs of all my clients.
Every
If you're
escrow
watching and
is
if you're looking to
different.
buy your first home or your
Mhm,
forever home, be sure to hashtag buy in the comments below.
mhm. That's right.
But that's us. That's the ladies behind Real Generational Wealth. But let's get on to the good stuff, like we promised you. So buying and selling your home in a pandemic, is that even possible? Yeah, I mean, in
Well,
short, yes, most
It
definitely.
is. Mhm.
yes, definitely. So in today's market, it's the the interest rates are still low, so it's still a great time to sell. I mostly work with listings. So what I do for a lot of my seller clients is one of the things we do is a virtual listing presentation. So what that is we just do a PowerPoint online. All they have to do is go on netrealty.com and then go in the chat box, and there's a link to our Zoom, and then we do our virtual listing presentation through Zoom, or we can do it through FaceTime, however they prefer.
Mhm.
If you guys can't wait, or if you want a comparative market analysis right away, you can use the Net Realty app, and just put in your address, and then you'll get 30 to 50 page comparative market analysis sent to your email within seconds. So
Wow.
another thing that we do is a virtual media production. So this involves virtual staging if you need it, if your home needs it. Professional photos, of course. We want to make sure that your home stands out from all the other homes out there on the market. Like when people are scrolling through photos, we don't want them to skip your house. We want them to stay in there and just look at all the photos of your home. And then another thing we do is a virtual 3D tour. So what this is Matterport. Matterport, you can go online and then click on any place in the home, and it'll take you there as if you're walking through the home yourself.
I've
But you're
seen those.
doing this from, yeah, it's really cool. You're doing this from the comfort of your own home, and you can do this anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then another thing that I like to do is screen the clients that are going in and out of your home. So especially when the homeowner is still living there, we want to limit the amount of showings. So what we
Right.
do is we make sure that they provide a signed PED form, ensuring that they don't have coronavirus or any coronavirus symptoms. This is the buyer and the buyer's agent. Also, we request a pre-approval and proof of funds just to make sure that they qualify for your home. Let's say your home is listed at 700,000. We don't want a buyer there that's only qualified for 500,000 because they're wasting everyone's time. And the buyer, there's no way that the buyer can purchase your home within 30 days. So we just want to make sure that we have serious buyers and not looky-loose goat that are coming to see the home. Okay, lastly, we want to, when I have a home that has a lot of showing requests, like 20 showings in one day, I like to make sure to be there and be present during the showings. This way, the appointments are staggered. There's not 10 people coming in with a buyer to look at the home, and the seller's like freaking out, like, how come there's so many people here?
Right.
So those are some of the things that we like to do. So it's definitely doable to sell your home during COVID, and actually it's the best time to sell right now. So Jen, why don't you tell me how you help your buyer clients during the pandemic?
So, at the beginning of the pandemic, there was this huge lockdown, right? Everybody kind of stopped.
Yeah.
There was so much uncertainty. No one knew what was going to happen and they were going to do. But then everybody realized, hey, we still need a place to live. I still need a place to go.
And
Um,
security. Yeah.
exactly. So a lot of my buyers, I would start with a virtual consultation, and I usually do that on the phone or Zoom. And I like Zoom because it still creates that face to face to
Yes.
personalize it. It's important for me to create a game plan that really works for the buyer. I want to know basically all the criteria that all my buyers are looking for. How many beds, how many baths, do they have a pet? Do they need a yard? What areas? What's their budget? And of course, the budget is determined by the pre-approval, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Um, which well, actually, we could talk about that next week. We could totally talk about the whole pre-approval process next week,
That's a
but
whole other episode.
Mhm.
So
it is a whole nother episode.
That's another
Um,
story.
exactly. So, getting pre-approved and just making sure that what you're looking for is I mean, is something we'll find.
Mhm.
A lot of people's, I guess a lot of things have changed in COVID. Right now, people need a home office. People need a space for the kids to learn in.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's so much of their criteria has changed in literally just the last several months.
Like a
So yeah,
bigger
I
lot.
set my buyers up on an email drip so that they get all their favorited homes immediately as soon as properties hit the market. Then next step is basically to do virtual tours, kind of like what you said you do for your sellers. I send my
Yes.
clients either the Matterport or like this walkthrough video. There was actually a time where one of my clients, he was from out of state and he didn't want to travel because of COVID and whatnot. So I went to the property myself for him and I FaceTimed him. So I walked
Wow.
through the property for him. He was like, "Hey,
Mhm.
what's in the cabinet?" I opened up the drawer and I basically showed him everything from top to bottom. So we had to pivot. We had to figure out something to do, and it worked. But I know there's still a lot of buyers who want to see the homes in person, and that's
Of
still totally
course.
possible
Yeah.
in COVID. And so SB, I mean, I'm sure SB can go a little more into that and how showing properties are done in COVID.
Yes, Jen. In fact, I just showed a property last weekend to mom and dad and their daughter. And what happens is that we are expected by the listing agent to submit the pre-approval, the proof of funds, and the PID. It has to be emailed to the listing agent even prior to making the appointment to make sure that there's nobody having any kinds of symptoms. That's
Yes.
how, that's how strict we are right now in our business. So when we got there, the listing agent was there waiting for us, and he turned on all the lights, opened the windows, showed the property. So the good thing about it is that being that you have the listing agent there and the buyer's agent, now the buyer is feeling more comfortable
Mhm.
getting to know the home and looking at the different um, rooms of the house and all the different features. And if they do have a question, the listing agent actually really know the house supposed to be more than the buyer's agent actually. So this is a good
That's
kind
true.
of change on the, this is the new normal for us. So whether you can go for the virtual or with the actual, the good thing about this, the COVID thing that we have is that the buyers are more qualified, the buyers are more filtered,
Yes.
who are even the homes that they're going to be looking at are really catered to what they're looking for. So to avoid any looky-loos, or for the seller to feel more comfortable that anybody who's going to look at their home are capable of buying their home.
Right.
Yes.
So just one example, especially right now with the COVID, I'm just looking and just thinking about it right now. The baby boomers, they are really affected. People who are like 60 and over, a lot
Right.
of times they are just by
They're ready.
themselves, and then they have big house. They're by themselves. They're overwhelmed. They have so much stuff that they have for the last 30 years. This is the best time for them to pivot and move, whether they want to, downsize to a more simple home, or actually to buy a brand new home with brand new furniture and huge dream home of their or that they want, right?
Right.
So
Mhm.
that's what, yeah, so that's what I do. So I focus with the baby boomers who wants to retire in style. So I help them with different kinds of ways like reverse mortgage, 1031 exchange, leveraging their equity, or even going to the Philippines trying to get a second home.
Nice.
So anyway, enough of that. I just want to let you know that if you want to retire in style, leveraging in your real estate, hashtag retire in the comment, or PM me. You can always private message me here in Facebook and we can talk. And everybody, as Jen and Abby says, every situation is different. We always
Yes.
cater to exactly what you need.
Right.
That's what we do, you know.
Awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you so
thank
much,
you.
SB. Okay, so there you have it. Yes, people are still buying and selling homes amidst this crazy pandemic. Interest rates are low and inventory is low. So please feel free to contact me anytime. And don't forget to hashtag put hashtag sell in the comments, or you can send me a private message as well, and I'll be glad to assist you.
Nice. Well, like Abby mentioned, interest rates are at an all-time low. So again, if you are interested in buying, don't forget to hashtag buy in the comments. And that's it. So, I mean, let us know what any questions you guys have. Put it in the comments. Maybe any other real estate topics you guys want to talk about. And we will see you guys next week. We will talk about the pre-approval process and getting ready to
Exciting.
purchase a home.
Yeah, a lot of people are thinking about credit. Some people are wondering how they can come up with a down payment. There's different ways of doing that. And what I always say, especially when I was a loan officer before and also a realtor, I say, if you want it bad enough, doors open.
Hey,
Okay?
that's the
That's
truth.
true.
Things
There's
happen.
a way.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. We will see you guys next week on Real Generational Wealth.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you, everyone.